Recently, I've had several conversations with individuals, with teams, with committees about our current work to develop towards the future health of the church. We want to continue to be healthy and vibrant, mobile and adaptive and flexible and dexterous so that the church continues to be healthy into the future. Some of those conversations have been around who is not here or who is not here in mass, right? We may have some representation that is racially diverse or diverse in queer identity or diverse in age, and we don't really have critical mass of some of those populations. And so if we want to have a more diverse representation within our congregation, how are we going to go about that? And the old school model in the 60s and the 70s was sort of if you build it, they will come, right? That if we build the thing, including buildings, people will come. Well, we know that's not true. But if we build relationships, then we have something to rely on. So we don't just create a worship service or change all of our music or offer an after-school program with the expectation that if we build it, people will come. No, what we have to do is build relationships of substance and value, not just pretending to be connected to somebody or friends with somebody so that they'll come to church and we'll bait them in that way, but really investing in people and trusting that if we invest in relationships that matter, that those may in fact yield connections for the life and the health of the church. So in that conversation, we've talked also about being relevant so that if and when those folks come to the church, there's space for them. It feels like a rhythm that is comfortable. They can understand what's happening in worship. Maybe the music speaks to them. Maybe if they are bilingual or a second language learner, there's space for that as well. And so we've talked about how some things might need to change. No, we don't just build a separate worship service for those others, whoever they might be, but maybe we look at integrating different music, different liturgy, different styles into what we do so that we're all a little bit more adaptive, flexible, and open to the possibilities. So when those folks come from different traditions or different generations or different perspectives, they find a space for themselves. In that conversation, I'm very aware that some of it's uncomfortable, that there are sacrifices of the things I love and the things that you love that might get left by the side of the road because they don't really honor us in our diversity and that newness with those new folks here. And one of the things I want us to begin thinking about is, are we willing to be sacrificially humble for the sake of those who are not already here? Are we willing to be sacrificially humble for the sake of those who are not here? Now, what do I mean by that? Sacrificially means giving up some of my comfort, some of my norms, some of my favorite things for the sake of someone else. And humble, recognizing that while I love my way, it's not the only way. Now, humility, proper humility, is not gauging ourselves too high or too low. So it's not a sacrifice where I just, give up everything and nothing really matters to me, but I have to do it for the sake of the church. No. And it's not an overestimation of the value of what we want as individuals or even as a collective, but it's sort of this middle road space that says what we are and what we do is beautiful and good, and there's more in the scope of possibilities. So are we willing to sacrifice some of our comfort, some of our rituals, some of our norms for the sake of those who are not here? Something for us to think on and reflect on, because friends, if we aren't, then we won't be building towards the future of the church. We'll be maintaining who we are until it's no longer viable, and then it will die. So are we willing to create now that space of sacrificial humility for the future health and vitality of the church? Think about it. Take care, friends.